What you're about ready to see is an interview I did with Jim Lancaster from Lantech. Jim is a lean guy. We had the opportunity to tour his facility on a recent roundtable that we had in Louisville, Kentucky. And Jim taught us 4 powerful concepts. So each one of these videos, entitled Lean Lantech, is those 4 concepts that Jim gave us. And here's the first one. So my first question to Jim was, Jim, you talk about not giving visionary speeches anymore and that you spend your time on the shop floor. And here was Jim's answer.
So Jim, what were you saying about visionary speeches?
Well, I think when I did the visionary speeches to my associates, it didn't connect with them. It didn't connect with the actual issues they're having on a daily basis. They've got a machine that's got a problem, like a motor squeaking. They're not interested that we're going to take over the world with some global vision. They want to know what's in place to be able to fix the problem they've got today so that they can be successful.
What were you saying about couch meetings?
We were in a company culture where we thought we could help people by telling them how to behave and trying to describe to them how they need to behave in certain situations. We call them I call them couch meetings, like we acted like a psychologist trying to help them develop as a person. We don't do any of that anymore. I don't do any of that anymore. What I do is help people be successful at solving problems on a daily basis. And if they start solving problems and they know how to do that, and then they start feeling successful and they do the right things.
That motivates them.
That motivates them. And when I'm able to make them successful or put the tools in place so they can be successful, they are motivated. The way I think about it is if they're going home from work, tapping on the steering wheel, that they had a great day, then I did a good thing. And because when they had a great day, I had a great day because they were able to accomplish their objectives for the day. I think motivation comes from people accomplishing what they want to accomplish. It doesn't come from a lot of the stuff you read about, or at least my experience has been. I don't think people are fundamentally lazy. I think people are fundamentally frustrated with the work environment we put in front of them. And if we can eliminate the frustration and allow them to actually do what they want to do, which is make a difference, then they're pumped up and excited and they want to do more of it.
Exactly, about changing people.
Yeah.
So talk to me about management. What's the issue with management?
What we found when we're trying to change folks' outlook and how we do management here and make changes in our processes, the most difficult people to change are our top managers. The folks on the shop floor know what's broken. They know what's wrong. And when we start actually focusing on fixing that stuff, they change pretty quickly. I mean, as long as they got basic integrity and they're don't have substance abuse problems, we don't have issues with them.
So what's the issue with management?
The issue with management is that they have been very successful over a number of years with a certain way of doing something, a certain way of causing other people to do things, and they've risen through the organization. They've been successful. So they've learned that those tools make them successful as an individual. It may be they've learned that political tools and managing up, for example, makes them successful. So now you're trying to tell them to do things in a very different way, and they've got 10 or 15 or 20 years of experience that show them that that's not the way to do it. And the only way I know to change it is to give them experience where they see that these other tools actually work.
Let them see the results.
They got to see results, and it's got to pull them out of a fire, and then they'll use it again. If I just tell them to do it that way, it won't be successful. The way I learn, you got to learn a philosophy first, or a principle first, or a tool first, and then you have to get belief. And here's how I can tell whether you have belief. If I throw you in a bad situation, you have belief when you pick up the tool to use it to get yourself out of a dangerous situation without me telling you what to do. Then you have belief. If I throw you into a dangerous situation or a difficult situation,
and you go back to the same thing,
you're going to pick up the tool you think is going to work best, self-preservation. And that's how I know whether I got it or not. If you don't have it in that particular situation, it's because you don't believe it yet. Doesn't mean you don't have it intellectually. It's part of the reason that a lot of these seminars and books and those kind of things, while valuable or interesting, they don't change behavior. And the reason they don't change behavior is behavior comes from belief. And belief comes from experience of it actually working. And so my job as a manager is to set up experiments in situations so my managers have that experience and they get the result. Sometimes I go around backwards and make sure the result actually comes, and then, by the way, they're going to go pick that tool up again the next time because it actually worked for them.
Why? Why have you been unsuccessful
at
having outside people train your people?
When we bring outside folks into training, outside folks work good on a specific technical training basis, like a standard for CE or a welding standard or something like that. But anything to do with culture or how we're actually managing the business, I think it's outsourcing our job as managers and leaders. our main job as a manager and a leader is to build the culture and to design the work of what our folks do.
And part of that, and that's training.
And that's training. Training is one of the most important things that we do, and developing of our people is one of the most important things that we do. And I personally spent very little time on that early in my career, and now I'm understanding the power of it, but I don't think I did it because I don't think I knew how to do it, and I don't think I knew what to train them. And so I kind of outsourced it and gave it to other folks to come in. The problem is, this guy would come in and train and tell folks to kind of go left, and this guy would come in and train and tell them to go right. And if I wasn't aligned with what they were training, it was a complete waste of time. So I've got to make sure that if I'm training on something, I'm actually behaving in a way that's supportive of it. Otherwise, it's just wasted time.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Jim Lancaster. I personally learned a lot. Why? Because Jim distilled down 4 simple concepts. Number 1, no more vision speeches. People need us on the shop floor. As leaders, we need to make sure our people have the resources, the training, the tools, the equipment to do a great job. That's where the real power is, and that's frankly where the real action is, because where the money's made and where the real action is and the value-added activity is, it's on the shop floor. So the more the leader becomes engaged in the shop floor processes, probably the more successful the company is going to be. And then the next concept, no more couch meetings, no more cajoling people or trying to figure out what's going to motivate you. What motivates people is when you give them the tools and resources and training to do a great job every day. And Jim's figured that out, and I love that concept. And then the next one is middle management. So often middle management is the very problem that prohibits us from creating a culture of continuous improvement and getting that lean transformation going. Why? Because middle managers become managers and successful because of doing a certain prescribed things. And as a result, then we come along and tell them, hey, you know what, you gotta learn lean manufacturing, you gotta change your way of thinking. Well, guess what? There's some pushback from doing those kinds of things. And we need to understand that we need to now show our managers what results look like. And when they see those results, they're gonna reach into their toolbox and they're gonna use those very tools that we want them to incorporate. And lastly, consultants. This is a powerful concept. Everywhere I go, I see people always hiring outside consultants, and for sure, there's a place for that. But at the end of the day, we cannot let hiring consultants become a substitute for our job as leaders to get on the shop floor, teach and train our people, and be involved in creating a transformative culture of continuous improvement.